to expropriate land without compensation has sparked widespread reaction. And joining us now via telephone from Pretoria is the CEO of AfriForum, Kallie Kriel. Mr. Kriel, good morning and thanks for speaking to us here on Morning Live.
Good morning to you, ma'am. It's a pleasure speaking to you.
So, firstly, what is your immediate reaction as AfriForum following this major development?
Well, we believe it's a tragedy because we know what the implications of this would be. If you look at a place like Venezuela, who was the richest country in Latin America, they now have the inflation rate of 1,000,000%, 80% of people living in poverty. In Zimbabwe, we have a 90% unemployment rate. I personally don't have land, but the reason why I'm so worried is because the implications for a country's economy is very destructive, and we have to try and stop this.
So please break that down for us, the implications and how exactly that is likely to unfold that has you so concerned.
Well, what you have, people that invest in the economy, and we know our country is in dire need of investment, they need to know that their investments are safe. So as soon as the government shows that they don't respect property rights, that they expropriate to take things without paying, then people will simply won't invest. And it's not because AfriForum says so. AfriForum did not ask investors not to invest in Zimbabwe. They decide so because of their own economical reasons. And that is why we now have to approach these investors to say, don't disinvest, rather put pressure on the South African government and explain to them what the implications, the destructive implications of this would be on the country's economy.
Well, without being ahistorical on the Zimbabwe question, we had the Lancaster House Agreement in Zimbabwe that effectively placed a moratorium on, that land expropriation situation for 10 years. And then after that, they also went into a willing buyer, willing seller type of arrangement, which was also, flawed and didn't quite take off, which mirrors what we have been doing here in South Africa. And in the end, we saw what the result was in Zimbabwe. How do we avoid that but address the land question at the same time, Mr. Kriel?
Well, I think then we should look at what former President Motlanthe said in his report, where he looked at the land issue and he said it was not necessary to change the constitution, and that the money that was spent on land reform was quite a lot of money. But unfortunately, as former President said, there was corruption, there was maladministration. 45 billion rand has been spent on land reform. The government has bought 44,000 farms. Of those farms, only 6% were given to people. The rest was taken into government property. And we know that according to government's own statistics, more than 90% of them have failed. So what we need to do first is to look at, to make sure that what is done is successful. You cannot now say, well, let's just do more of what didn't work. We have to make sure that corruption is stamped out, the administrative processes are correct, that we make sure that those processes that go ahead are successful. That is the route to go, and not the route definitely not to go is to chase away investors, because we know what the result of that is.
Final question, Mr. Kriel. Are you likely to challenge, this particular constitutional amendment?
Yes, well, we will challenge it. Of course, if the government changes the constitution, you cannot go to the constitutional court, because then they have to function under a new constitution. So that is why we actually have no choice but to try and get the international community to put pressure on the South African government to try and avert this disaster that is coming towards this country at the moment.
Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Immediate reaction from AfriForum there and speaking to their CEO, Kallie Kriel. Meanwhile,